Hello everyone, this is Direwolf28 and welcome to another Mod Spotlight by Direwolf20. Today I'm doing a Mod Spotlight on one that you guys have been requesting. It is Computercraft. That's right, a player on the forums by the name of Dan200 created a mod called Computercraft, and it basically gives you a little computer in the world. Why don't I show you guys how to craft it real quick. If I open up my little interface here, you can see that a computer is crafted like so. 7 pieces of stone, a redstone, and a glass pane. And if I give myself one of these guys real quick and place it down the world, you can see it currently doesn't have a cursor on it. That means it's not turned on yet. And if you right click on it, it'll turn it on. If we look at it now, it's got this nice little blinking cursor indicating that it's on. You can also type the shutdown command if you're interested, and it'll turn it off for you. Neat. Now let's check it out. If we look at the list of programs, if I could type properly, you can see there's a bunch of different things here. Those of you familiar with command line utilities can change directory, clear the screen, exit, help, that kind of basic stuff. Basically what this computer can do at the moment is it can accept input, and it's mostly built around LUA programming. And LUA programming is a type of programming language. It's mostly a scripting language, and you can use it to run certain scripts and execute certain commands based on certain conditions. It's a pretty robust scripting language used commonly out there in the world. I'm by no means an expert on LUA, so I've built some very basic programs just to demonstrate for you guys what you can do with this guy. And just rest assured that what I'm doing is just scratching the surface. There's really no way that I can show you guys all the features of this, because it's one of those things like Minecraft in general where the features are really left up to you and your imagination and your creativity. How creative you can get and how good at programming you can get. The LUA scripting language is not terribly hard for anybody who wants to learn programming, so worth a shot if you want to play around and do some crazy stuff. It's definitely pretty neat. You can start off here by typing help, and it'll tell you a basic list of things that you can do. You can check out existing programs that are right here, so you can see all this crazy stuff that I showed when I typed programs. And if you're interested in a particular program, you can type help and the name of that program. Let's look at red pulse real quick. It will pulse the left 5. If you type that, for example, it'll pulse 5 1-second pulses from the left side of the computer. So you can basically use the red pulse command to emit a redstone signal. Let's grab some redstone and run it out the left side of the computer as an example. And if I go in here and type red pulse left 10, it'll pulse 10 times out the left side of the computer, exactly like it said it would. And if I did red pulse left 5 and then 3, that should do 5 pulses with a 3-second interval between them. 1, 2, 3, you get where this is going, 4, and 5. Cool? And you can also do right, etc. So basically you can emit redstone signals from the computer. And the maker of this mod, Dan200, added compatibility for red power. So if you're as big a fan of red power as I am, you might recognize some of these red power wiring. And Dan200 spoke with LRAM, and the two of them decided to pretty much permit this so that Computercraft can integrate with red power. So that was very cool of LRAM to give that to us. And you guys will see in some of the things I'm about to show you, the addition of bundled cables here with the red wire cables really adds a lot of functionality to what the Computercraft can give us. So even though LRAM's planning a programming and computer language of her own and a built-in computer into the game, she did allow Dan200 to use her wiring. So that was really cool. She pretty much did it in the interest of all the players. Right now, you've got some red power wiring capabilities. If we do help red power, you can see that there's some pretty complicated commands here. You can set the output based on the left side of the machine or the right, or whatever side there is, by the color code or the numerical value, which is right here. And if we were to type help colors, like it's indicating to do here, we can see a list of the bit order of colors. Now for those of you who are not programmers, most things are stored in bits, which is binary language, and it's, the first bit is 2 to the power of whatever number. So 2 to the 0 is a 1, and then the next bit is 2 to the 1, which is 2, and the next bit is 2 to the 2, which is 4. 2 to the 3 is 8, 2 to the 4 is 16, and all the way up to 32, 64, 128, 256. Anybody familiar with computers should recognize those numbers a little bit. And that might have lost you a little bit, but don't worry about it. He allowed you to use colors by name, or you can use their bit values. So right now, the colors.white bit value is set to 1, and the colors.orange is 2, and the colors magenta is 4, colors light blue is 8. And you can see I've got white, orange, magenta, and light blue laid out. So let's say I wanted to set a color here. Okay, I'd have to type rs.set bundled output right colors.white. Oops, hang on. You can see I'm no master of this just yet. Oh wait, I have to type LUA first. You can't type the commands directly into this OS unless you write a program, but if you type LOA, it lets you into kind of a scripting shell, and then I can type rs.set bundled output right, because my cable is on the right side of this machine, and I'm going to say colors.white. And you might have noticed real quick, the white line just turned on. Awesome. Now, if you want to write a program, I'll exit this little scripting thing. You can type edit and the name of the program. I'm going to put in Dyer. Oh look, there's already a program there. Yes, I wrote this one ahead of time. It's real simple. It takes in some arguments from the command line and then runs this function. I called it test, and the function is basically to return that rs.setBundledOutput. And then it runs the test based on the command line that I sent it. Am I losing you yet? Don't worry. Let me show you what it does. Now this one will only accept numerical because of the way I wrote it. So if I were to do test 0, or no wait, Dyer 0, there we go, you can see it turned off my cabling. Let's look at help colors again. Remember how I said white was the number 1? So if I write Dyer 1, it turns on the white wire. And if I write Dyer 0 again, it turns it all off. If I write Dyer 2, 2 is the orange wire. Cool. Now what do you think Dyer 3 is going to do? That's actually a combination of 2 and 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. So 1 and 2 are both on. Oh boy, this is starting to get complicated. And if I were to write Dyer 4, magenta is line 4. Oh, I'm starting to get it now. And Dyer 5, what do you think 5 will do? If you said purple and white, you were correct, because 5 is a combination of 4, which is magenta, and 1, which is white. Okay? And Dyer 6 would do these two. We're learning binary. Dyer 7. You get the point by now, I hope. Dyer 8 will be the last color. This is how we count in binary, guys. Alright, so that's cool. So I wrote a little program to change colors on wires. How fun is that? It's not bad. And like I said, I'm not terribly good at this stuff just yet. But let's go over to this line over here and see what kind of neat stuff we can do. You can see I set up a wiring system, again with the white, orange, magenta, and light blue. And I have all my levers here that I can flip the levers. So right now they're all off and there's no input. And if I did edit read inputs, is a program I wrote, very simple program, basically 2 lines. It just reads the input from the back of the computer. And we'll exit this guy. Okay, see the wire coming in the back? Perfect. And I can say read inputs. Right now there's nothing coming in. Let's turn on the white wire, which is over here. What's the white wire mean again? It means number 1. And white plus magenta. Number 5. So we're getting some basic computing going on. Pretty neat. What else can we do? Well, what if I edit this program I called 1.3? It's going to wait 3 seconds, and then it's going to wait for an event to hit the system here. And this is becoming a little bit more complicated. But the event, one of the events that's available is a redstone signal change. So if any kind of redstone signal changes on this computer, it'll move to the next line. And it'll say, if the input on the back is 5, then zoom, set the output on the right to true. Otherwise, set the output on the right to false. So what did I just do here? I basically built a little combination lock. Very basic and simple, 4-line of code. And I can exit this guy now. Okay, so let's set our current combination to 1. And this is probably not the most efficient way to do this. I was just kind of demonstrating. But if I run my 1.3 program, it's now going to wait a few seconds, and it's going to wait for whatever combination of wires coming in the back to be 5. And if you guys remember, that's the white and magenta combination. So let's try flipping the wrong one. I'm going to flip lever 1 and 2. If I go look at my computer, it told me that it got a redstone signal and it stopped, but it did not emit a redstone signal over here, because I was waiting for 5, which is values 1 and 3 lever. That's why I named my program 1.3. Pretty easy, right? So let's give it a few seconds here. Now if I flip the 3rd lever, it turned on the redstone, because the program said if white and magenta are both on, then emit a redstone signal out the right side. And I'm sure there's some way to loop this program so that it keeps running over and over again. But like I said, I was just beginning to learn the LUA scripting language and play around with it a little bit. So it would be pretty easy to modify this computer to set it up so that it continuously runs that program, and every time you flick a lever, it updates the redstone signal on the side without having to go back to the program every now and then to update it. As a matter of fact, I just modified the program a little bit here. Let's run it again, 1.3. Now it's going to wait, and it's only going to emit a redstone signal out the side when levers 1 and 3 are flipped here. So if I flip the 3rd lever, it updates, and if I turn it off, it turns off. And if I try and flip this lever, you can see the redstone's not on. And no combination of levers except 1 and 3 will work. And I only set it to allow up to 10 iterations, because I did it as a for loop, which is definitely not the right way to do it, but you get the point. So you can pretty much program these little computers to do all kinds of neat things. You can even accept passwords pretty easily. Let's go to this one here and do edit password.text. And I'm going to say, actually no, I don't want to call it password.text. I want to do edit password. That'll work. And I can do something pretty simple here. Let's do this. Alright, let's try local targs. And I apologize, I'm not perfect at this. I don't think I need that parentheses. Alright, let's see if that worked. No idea if it did. But I should have just wrote a password that will only turn on the right side here. If I type in password, if I type in test, okay, it didn't like something. Hang on, let me check my code real quick. Alright, like I said, not a master. I forgot to put this bracket 1 here. This indicates that it's the first argument that you give the code. And I forgot a double equal sign. So, my bad. But if we test it now and exit, and I run the password program with the wrong password, for example, test, it won't emit a redstone signal. Test2, not the right password yet. And if I run the password program with the right password, pass, it did emit a redstone signal. So you can see there's a couple different neat tricks you can do here. That's pretty much it. There's a ton of other things you can do with Computercraft. I haven't really begun to scratch the surface, like I said, but it's a neat little mod. It adds some cool stuff to the game, and I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're one of those people who like scripting and programming and feel like you could write some really neat programs. The other cool thing about this is if other people write programs, they're basically just text files, and you can download the text files and put them into your Minecraft world and just run them on the program. So most of these programs right here that I set up, I didn't edit inside this little interface. I edited it in Notepad within Windows. So you could, get somebody who's way better at scripting than you to write a really cool program, and then you could download it and run it within your Minecraft world. So that would be cool. So anyway, this is Direwolf20 signing off on Computercraft. Hope you guys enjoyed checking it out. Take it easy.